What is up, disc golfers? Today on Iceberg TV, I want to give you a quick distance driver tip that's going to help you choose the perfect distance driver for you. So when you're choosing distance drivers, there's hundreds of companies, probably approaching thousands at this point. They make so many different distance drivers. And then don't even get me started on flight numbers. Those can be a whole confusing conversation in and of itself. We all know one destroyer is not another destroyer. One could be flippy roller disc, one could be overstable meat hook. Today, I'm going to break it down to you in the way that I think about it, the simplest of terms. There's a few things that I want to talk about. I have two polar opposite distance drivers here. I have the AGL Redwood and I have the AGL Cedar. Now, there's a few key differences between these two discs that are going to help you understand when you're in the disc golf shop and you're looking at discs, things you can look for if you want an understable disc versus if you want an overstable disc. The first thing I want to talk about is the dome. You can see the Redwood has a super high top, super high dome, versus the Cedar here is absolutely board flat. Now, what dome versus flat, in my experience, does, dome equals more glide. The simplest of terms, domey discs tend to glide more than flat discs. Now, the second thing I want to talk about, and this is a really good example of this, is the parting line. Now, the parting line of a golf disc is where the two molds come together. If that parting line is really low, then you're going to have a more understable disc. So when I look at this disc, I can see it's got a super dome, so it's going to be glidey. See, pop top, glide. Low parting line means it's going to probably have turn early in the flight, in the mid-flight. So this is going to be a glidey, flippier driver. Now, when we look at the Cedar where the two molds come together, this is much, much higher than on the Redwood, and I'll show you guys both here so you can really see the difference. They're almost like inverses of one another. It's almost like they're polar opposites, and they're the perfect examples to show you guys for the video today. So we have super high parting line, super flat top. That means it's going to have almost no glide and super overstability. And it's going to be about the polar opposite of this one. Now, the last and final thing that I want to talk about is, I'm not sure what this part of the disc is called. I'm going to call it the wing. I don't know if that's true, but we'll call it the wing. And it's how concave the wing is. The more concave it is, the more likely it's going to be overstable. And the wing on this guy is like super concave. So we have flat top, we have high parting line, and concave wing. That means this thing is an absolute meat hook, and I didn't even need to throw this to know that it was going to be overstable. I just took this out. I was like, holy cow, this thing's gonna be absolute beef. So, and the disc has a really cool stamp, didn't have flight numbers on it, but this is how I knew that this thing was gonna be super overstable. Now, when we look at the Redwood, it's not nearly as concave on the wing, and it's almost borderline convex. And if you look at discs like a Roadrunner or a Sidewinder, things that are much more understable, like a Leopard, an Archer, discs that are understable will even be convex here, meaning it will be pushing out on the wing, it'll be rounded here. Those discs are going to be extremely understable. So we compare these two, you can see the Cedar much more concave than the Redwood. And now we'll just give you guys a quick flight test so you can actually see the difference here in stability. I'm gonna throw them both flat, and then we'll see how we go. But we're gonna go with the Cedar first, the beefcake boy, and then the Redwood. So you can see it just wants to not turn at all, huge flare skip, super overstability. And now we're gonna throw the Redwood here, and you're gonna see a massive difference in these two flights. You can see, wants to pick up, turn. It went, I threw them both not super hard, and that Redwood went literally 80 to 100 feet farther with very light power. Both discs, didn't throw them very hard, but you could see the Cedar, absolute beefcake. It hit all three of my marks of stability: flat top, high parting line, concave flight wing, and then the Redwood, total polar opposite. Super dome for the glide in the distance, low parting line for the understability, and then the closer to a convex wing for more understability. that's the way I like to think about it. And in the most simplest of terms, that has worked for me and been pretty reliable for me in the past. But I hope this tip helped you. I hope you can go out there, go to the disc golf store and be pleased with your purchase, because we don't want to waste money. We want to be effective with our money, and we want to get the disc that flies how we want it to fly. So if you want glide, look for those 3 glidey tips. If you want understability, look for the the understability. If you want overstability, look for flat top, high parting line. You guys get what I'm saying. You pick up what I'm putting down. Anyways, the distance drivers you saw, you can get AGL's website. I'll link that in the description below. You can use code Iceberg, save 15% off your order. You're watching Iceberg TV. I hope this tip helped you, and take care.